Muriel. It's Nurse Muriel. Welcome to my new subscribers. I have quite a few of y'all. Thank y'all for hitting that subscribe button. To my oldies but goodies, welcome back. So y'all, it's been a few days. I think it's been a few days since I last put up a video. I'm not sure, y'all. It's doing well though. I see the videos doing some numbers. Hold on, let me put a little bit of gloss on these lips here. So in this video, I'm going to give you a list of 5 or 6 types of long-term care nurses not to be, okay? Because long-term care is a different beast. It's not the hospital. I would say not be this type of nurse in the hospital as well, but you know, I'm a LTC girl, a LTC girly, so I'm going to tell you the type of long-term care nurse not to be. All right. Number 1, the type of nurse that you don't want to be is the forever late nurse. The nurse who comes in late so often that it's already expected of her to come in 30 minutes late, 45 minutes late, an hour late. Let's not be that nurse, okay? We got so many of them in long-term care. And you know what's funny to me is those nurses that are perpetually late, and when they're working long-term care, when they transition and go to the hospital, they don't play those games in the hospital. They don't do that. They're on time. That being late, they don't play that. They're to work on time when they go to the hospital, but they don't give that same respect to long-term care. It's like, I don't know, I just feel like a lot of people don't have respect for long-term care, and they just come there and just feel like they can do whatever they want to do. And I blame it on administration because they don't give them any type of consequences for that. Like when I was getting out this morning, I had already expected for no relief to show up until 7:30 a.m. So I was taking my time just doing what I need to do, trying to do the little extras. Even though I was so tired, I took my time trying to do the little extras because I wasn't expecting a relief. And lo and behold, one of the nurses who did show up, she actually picked up like 6 hours for one of the nurses that was supposed to show up. And she is one of the nurses, the nurse that showed up, she is one of the very few that comes to work on time. So she showed up at 7 a.m. and her side that she was working, I had already finished that side, cleaned that cart and everything. So that was, you know, good. But the other nurse, I already knew, don't look for her till 7:30, 7:45. And then sometimes you'll have the other nurse who will count for that nurse, but this nurse that came in on time, she doesn't do that, honey. She's not counting the cart for a day shift nurse that may or may not show up late. I have one nurse who, whenever she thinks I'm working, she comes late every shift. Like if she gets there by 7:30, she's good. That's good for her. She comes late almost every shift, and every time she thinks I'm working, she always texts me to be like, "Can you count the cart for me? I overslept. Can you count the cart for me? I overslept. Can you count the cart for me? I overslept." Girl, you overslept every damn shift, every shift. But then when you worked at the hospital, I'm sure you were on time because she worked at the hospital as well for a time being. I guarantee you she's on time to school when it's time to show up for class. I guarantee you she was on time to work, show up at the hospital when she was working. But every shift in long-term care, it never fails. She's always late. She's never considerate of the night shift that she's relieving, the fact that they want to go home. And there are plenty of nurses out there who are just like that. They'll come to work, they'll agree to come to work at 7 o'clock, but then things change and it's like, oh, I can't come to work until I get my kids on the bus for school or get them ready for school. Understandable, but that's like 7:45, sometimes 8 o'clock. So the night nurse who's been up all night long has to sit and wait until 7:45 for you to get to work. And so, you know, it's never a consideration for the co-workers when it comes to that nurse that's always late. They never have any consideration. Number 2, do not be the nurse that does not clean her cart, does not stock her cart, that leaves the cart with 1 lancet or no lancets or no alcohol pads or no medicine cups, no regular cups, no spoons, no straws. Always stock your cart, y'all. Before you leave your shift, please stock your cart, okay? stock your cart. Be considerate. Dump your trash, stock your cart, wipe down your cart if possible. If you happen to be running behind, and when the next nurse that relieves you is coming in, she sees you're running behind, so she know you hadn't had time to stock your cart. You can even tell her, you know, I'm so sorry, give me a few more minutes and I'll get this cart stocked and do all this for you. 9 times out of 10, that nurse that's coming in to relieve you, she'll see she'll see that you're still working, and she'll be like, oh, never mind, don't worry about that. And she'll probably go ahead and start stocking the cart herself, because it's the simple fact that you even, you know, acknowledge the fact that you're leaving, that this cart is messy, and you want to, because if she's coming in, she's probably ready to go ahead and get started. So waiting on you to stock the cart and do all that is, you know, taking some of the time out that she could be going ahead and getting started doing her work. So don't be the nurse that leaves a nasty cart, okay? Number 3 type of nurse not to be. Do not be the nurse that takes 15 breaks throughout a 12-hour shift. Each break is like 15 to 20 minutes long. Nothing is worse than working with a nurse who every 5 minutes she's taking a break, and then her patients are coming to you asking questions, and you have her patients and their family members are coming to you asking questions, and you just in the dark because you don't know what's going on with that patient. But every time the patient comes, every time a question is asked, they come to you because they know you are a nurse, and they have no idea where their nurse is, which their nurse is on her 5th 15-minute break. So don't be that nurse, okay? Don't be that nurse that's taking excessive amounts of break. Like I said, I like long-term care because if I need 5 minutes, I can go and I can take my 5 minutes, okay? 5 minutes. I'm not leaving the floor I'm not leaving the floor 10 to 15 times a shift taking 15-minute breaks. Are you going to pay me some of your salary for all this time that I'm having to answer questions for your patients, run to your patient, and run to your patient and check on their tube feeding because their tube feeding is beeping? Talk with your patient's family member, like make excuses for why you are not on the floor. So do not be that nurse that takes an excessive amount of breaks. It is ridiculous. So number 4, do not be that nurse that feels like ADL care is beneath them and that's not what they get paid for. And no, they're not going to do it. Okay. If you ever worked in a hospital, you know the nurses there do just as much ADL care, if not more. A good nurse in the hospital will end up doing probably just as much ADL care as the tech that's working. And the only good thing about the hospital is in the hospital, their patients tend to be a little more, depending on the floor you work, your patient ends up being a little more independent. But in long-term care, for some reason in the hospital, it is known that nurses provide ADL care. It's not even a question of, is the nurse going to help my patients to the bathroom? Is the nurse going to help clean this patient, providing continent care? It's already known that the nurse is going to do those things. But for some reason in long-term care, a lot of nurses feel like ADL care is beneath them. And no, they're not going to run and get a cup of ice. And no, I'm not going to change this patient if they had a continent episode. I'm going to call for the CNA. No, I'm not going to answer call bells because that's what the CNA does. Now, mind you, there's a thin line between being a helpful nurse and being an over-abused nurse. There are some techs that know that they have working with a nurse who's going to change the patient, who's going to answer the call lights, who's going to do all these things. And so it's almost expected of you to do those things because you are that type of nurse. However, don't be that type of nurse where you're doing just as much ADL care as all other types of care in long-term care, because it will throw you behind. But there is nothing wrong with you walking in a patient's room who's urinated, and they're pretty good at turning and repositioning. There's no reason why you shouldn't just go ahead and change that person's brief unless there is something going on, like it would impact the time of your morning med pass, or if someone has something emergent going on, and changing that patient would, be at a risk of someone else's, another resident's life. But do not be that nurse that feels like she's above ADL care, okay? because it is a lot of them out there, and those are the nurses that have worst time working alongside their CNA. Like, because they get known to be the nurse who's not going to do anything, and so the CNA basically really doesn't have much respect for you, you know. And CNAs know which nurses are which. I've said in the past that, you know, I was a CNA before, and I work in the hospital, so it's nothing for me to walk in the room and see a patient is soiled, and I know that patient can turn and reposition easy. Child, I'll go ahead right ahead and pull out the wipes, pull out a brief. Hopefully there's a pad in the room, but I will go so far as going in and getting the pad, because what is it? What's it to me? I'll go ahead, and I can even be in the middle of a med pass, y'all, to be honest, and I'll go ahead if I see a patient is soiled, and I know it's a quick 1-2 turn, clean them up and go, just get them dry and go. I'll go ahead and do those things, but, you know, I can be in the middle of the med pass. I'll go ahead and do it real quick, and then I'll let the CNA know, hey, I changed so-and-so, but I left the trash in the bag in the room, because you know, I'll tell them I ain't feel like walking all the way down that hall to the trash, but they're changed. I just left the trash in the room. Honey, they still appreciate that, because guess what? They may be running behind, something may have happened, they haven't been able to get to that person, but now they're in their mind, they're at ease, because they know, well, the nurse did change them. All I gotta do is grab the bag. They appreciate that, and they'll appreciate you even more. And so when you ask them to do things, they won't even hesitate really to do it, because they know you're the type of nurse that you'll go and change a patient. You'll take a patient to the toilet. You'll go and get a patient a cup of ice. You'll do this patient's set of vital signs. Like, they know you're that type of nurse, so they like working with you. I had one of my coworkers last night. At the end of my shift, I always, you know, tell my CNAs, if it's true, I tell them, well, have a good day. It was nice working with you. And this morning when one of the CNAs was leaving, I told her, I was like, have a good day. It was nice working with you again. And you know what she bust on and said? She was like, and she said this in front of the day shift nurse that came in. She was like, it was nice working with you too. I was telling my husband last night that I know I'm gonna have a good night because of the nurse I'm working with. She was like, I like working with you. I wasn't expecting all that, you know. And I was like, oh, for real? She was like, yeah. She said, you know, sometimes you know what type of day you're gonna have by the nurse that you're gonna end up working with. And y'all, that made me feel good, because, you know, I knew it to be true, that because the fact that she said, I was telling my husband last night I'm gonna have a good night because of the nurse I'm working with. So, you know, the CNAs know which nurses are. They know which nurses are, you know, those ones that they like working with, you know. So did I say 5? Did I say 5 things already? The type of nurse not to be in long-term care. Oh, and another nurse not to be in long-term care, y'all. And it's gonna happen. So, you know, I'm this type of nurse partially. Do not be the nurse that stay involved in petty drama, y'all. I'm not the type of nurse that stay involved in petty drama, but I ain't gonna lie, I like to hear what's going on in the facilities. I like to hear, you know, it's interesting to hear. If I don't hear it, I'll be okay. But when I hear something going on in the facility, you know, I'm that nurse that, I don't mind a little bit of, you know, chitter chatter in my ear. Just, you know, it'd be interesting to hear what, you know, these people got going on in these facilities, because you would be surprised, y'all. Y'all would be surprised at what goes on in the facility, honey. Who doing who, like, you know, it's like a regular old soap opera on my job, especially if you work in a small town facility, child. It's the best. Honey, I can tell y'all some wild things I've heard. Some wild things I've heard in this facility I work in. But although I hear the chitter chatter, y'all, nothing comes out of my mouth. But for real, oh my goodness, wow. Ooh, now you know that's a shame. You know, that's the type of response I have. I don't have the response, oh, well, girl, I heard so and so and so. Like when people say, you know, a person so-and-so was talking about me, but what did you say? It's not always somebody have to say something, because let me tell you, I've heard so much gossip, and it could be true, it could be false. I've heard so much gossip from the job that I work, my PRN job. And let me tell you what my response is always. Oh, for real? Ooh, girl, now you know that's a shame. Child, it's a mess. Really? Ooh, I didn't know that. Well, you know, we in a small town. Girl, I done heard it all. Those are the type of responses I have, y'all. those are the type of responses I have, because you'll never say, oh well, Muriel said that so and so and so and so and so and so. Honey, I don't be saying nothing. Those are the responses I have, because I have worked in facilities where child people have come to blows behind work gossip. And I ain't fighting no one on my shift, because I don't even deal with I don't even know them people well enough to be engaging in any type of fight with them. Like, once I leave my shift, child, I don't be caring what be going on with the people I work with. I don't be giving them a second thoughts, okay, other than to make these videos. That's all. But don't be that type of nurse. Don't be that catty nurse. Don't be. And the last and ultimate nurse not to be is the nurse bully. Don't be a bully nurse. Please don't be a nurse bully. I see so many videos about nurse bullying, nurse bullying, nurse bullying, and then I'll be like, well, who are they bullying? Because, honey, let me tell you, this job ain't for the weak. If you're not, it's a shame that you gotta come to work and you have to stand up for yourself. Please don't be a nurse bully. Remember, if anything else, remember when you graduated and you didn't know a thing and someone had to teach you and how you felt. Now, let me tell you, when I graduated and somebody had to teach me, you either teaching me or you're not. It's either way, it don't matter to me, because I'll let the supervisor know, hey, I think this so-and-so, this person got an issue, and I don't think they want to train me. And I'll tell that person, I have asked the person who is training me, oh, do you not want to train me? Because I can go ask them to get somebody else to train me. It's no problem. I'll tell them in a minute. And from that point on, that's when I don't have a problem with nurse bullying, because I have said that to my preceptor or my trainer before. Oh, you don't want to train me? Oh, it's okay. I can just go ask, I can go ask the supervisor to assign me to somebody else. It's no problem. Oh, I understand what it's like training people. It's no problem. Sometimes, you just don't feel like doing it. I'll go ask them to get somebody to train me. I tell them just like that. And it is what it is. I don't be mad at them, because sometimes you don't feel like training. Especially when you done trained so many people and they left within a week or two or a month. It'd be like, and then some of these facilities, they don't pay people more to train you. So I don't feel bad when someone's training me, and and sometimes they have little attitudes and they'll act like they don't, but they really do, because they really don't want to train you. And I'll just bring it to their attention. Oh, you don't feel like training me today? Oh, it's no problem. I'll go ask the supervisor, to put me with somebody else. I understand. I've had to train people before, and I know what it's like sometimes to slow your day down. So I don't have no problem with it. And then with me going in, I like to tell them, so a lot of the times you'll hear a nurse that's training ask, how long have you been a nurse? Or have you worked in long-term care before? Or have you worked in the hospital before? You'd be like, yeah. They'd be like, oh, okay. Well, you already know. And they feel a little relieved, because they know, for one, because y'all know we ain't doing everything correct when it comes to working. And we're doing things the nurse way when it comes to working. But when you're training, you have to do things the correct DHEC way, and that correct DHEC way is not feasible when you got 25 patients. You got to get medication, so it's not feasible to always do things the correct way. And so when I train, I always tell my trainer, okay, this is how you do it when DHEC is in the building, but this is how you do it to get through your shift. Okay, I just come out and tell them, this is what you do. If DHEC was here, this is what you should do. But this is what you do to get through your shift, okay? This is how we do it to get through the shift, okay? And nobody is put in harm's way, period, okay? Because these new rules DHEC came up with in the last 15 years, child. They must be thinking you working with 10 patients. No, I got 25 patients, honey. I don't have time to put every medication a 2-feeder get in its own separate 5 mLs of water and and flush 30 mLs. Flush it with 10 mLs or 30 mLs in between each. Nobody got time for that. I'm sorry. So, don't be the nurse bully. Don't be that nurse that if you're an LPN and you're training an RN in long-term care, don't be that nurse. So she's an RN. Why am I training her? Because she never did it before. That's why. She's never done it before. She's new. She's never done it before. Just like when you were an LPN and you got trained, you didn't know what you were doing. That's why. The title don't matter. She don't know what she's doing because they're new. Okay? Because I have had LPNs. I've been trained by an LPN in the hospital. The LPN can, like they said, this LPN can work circles around RNs. It don't matter if she's an LPN or RN. This nurse can work circles around other nurses, because I'm sure there are RNs who work in circles around LPN. So it don't matter. It's like this nurse can work circles around this other nurse, because that's the type of work ethic that this nurse has. Okay, that's all to it. Anywho, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. It's all thrown together. I don't even know how many types of nurses I told you not to be. What time is it? The school light flashing, child. I don't know how many nurses I told you not to be. Might be 6, but anyway, I think that's what this video is gonna be. Do not be this type of long-term care nurse. Okay? Yeah, I think that'll be cute. So I'll see y'all on the next video. Bye.